The budget has in it, the draft budget before you, an explanatory note, an estimate of expected income and expenditures, an estimate of all investments and capital expenditures, an estimate of the loans that will be required to finance capital expenditures, and a recapitulation of total amounts of income and expenses per section. Estimates in the budget have to be realistic. If not, you will run into the CFT, and it has to be achievable. Interest on loans may not exceed the interest norm, and the interest norm being the maximum amount that you're allowed to borrow is an average of 5% of the realized income of the public sector over the past 3 preceding years. If I go to the specifics of some of the specifics in the budget, and I go to the operating income, a summary of that would look as you can see on this slide. Income. Of course, Parliament and Higher Council of States do not generate any income. So you would see those spaces left blank. The Ministry of General Affairs in 2015 showed an income of $4,040,000. We're projecting in 2016 conservatively an income of $4,017,000. The Ministry of Finance generated $364,880,000 in 2015. We project that in 2016 that amount will be $363,779,000, a deviation of $1.1 million, again being on the cautious side and conservative side. The Ministry of Justice generated approximately $15,209,000 in 2015. We're projecting that in 2016 will be $118,000, I'm sorry. Public Health in 2015 showed an income of $9,207,000. We're projecting $11,129,000 in 2016. Ministry of Tourism and Economic Affairs generated in 2015 $45,710,000. We're projecting in 2016 that will be $55,623,000, an increase of $9,913,000. Ministry of Public Housing, Spatial Planning and Environment generated in 2015 $5,823,000. I expect that in 2016 to go up to $8,076,000. The total income of all the combined ministries shows in 2016 $458 million, compared to 2015 $445 million, a deviation of approximately $13 million. If we take a look at the summary of operating expenses, we'll see that Parliament and Higher Councils of State in 2015 spent $16,617,000. We're projecting in 2016 the expenditures for Parliament and Higher Council of State to amount to $16,507,000. In general, in 2015, the total expenses were $445 million, and we are projecting in 2016 the total expenses to be $438,901,000, a deviation of approximately $6 million. Summary of capital expenditures per ministry. An amount of $635,000 has been allotted to Parliament and higher councils of states. General Affairs, $6,132,000. Finance, $4,011,000. Justice, $12,799,000. Education, Culture, and Sport, $20,947,000. Public Health and Labor, $5,096,000. Tourism, Economic Affairs, Traffic and Telecommunication, $12,009,000. Public Housing, Spatial Planning and Environment, an amount of $14 million. The total summary of capital expenditures amount to $77 million. Of that amount of $5.2 million is expected to be given to students for student loans. Personnel expenses. In 2015, the total amount of personnel expenses amounted to $172 million. And in 2016, we expect it to balloon to $118 million, a difference about $7.8 million. Subsidies. Subsidies in 2015 total amounted to $100,245,000. We are projecting in 2016 the total subsidies will be $98 million, and the pain that was shared in that respect will be $1,291,000 in 2016. You should also be alerted that in September 2016, some $26 million will become due and payable, being the first repayment of our share of the loans that were incurred in 10-10-10 as part of the debt of the Netherlands Antilles.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000 guineas real easy. Island Finance. For education, a renovation. That's no problem. Yes, it's true. That's not all. They're quick and friendly too. Island Finance. Appliances, vacations, even fix your car. You can depend on Island Finance.
Life is a journey full of connections. You're in safe hands, even when life starts too soon. You don't have to miss a single beat. When a bad hair day makes you sad, just sharing can bring you joy and more to come. They take the plunge, turn fear into faith, while you capture those beautiful moments. In the game of life, it's family that counts. They'll be there even when you lose. We all have our moments of reflection and hope. And And when you feel you're losing everything in life, we're there, because there's more to come. When life starts too soon, you don't have to miss a single beat. We're here to connect you and share life. Telcel, when you want.
Hey, Bob, you're on family vacation. Oh, but your daughter's got the measles. But don't worry about it. With your Be Sure travel insurance, children under 12 are covered for free.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
Yeah, for free. Oh my, what an inventory list, and so unnecessary. But wait, your home contents are all insured by Be Sure. That means that you determine the amount you want to insure. No inventory list, no hassle.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
I'm feeling funny, man. I feel like I'm getting a pain in my chest.
I got this.
You sure?
Yes. It's 30 breaths and 2 compression. Give her here.
Oh, Monique, look, she waking up.
No, Fernand. It is not 30 breaths and 2 compressions. It is 30 compressions and 2 breaths. CPR can be done in 3 simple steps. Step 1, check and call. Step 2, press down or pump. Step 3, blow.
I got it now. It's 30 compression and 2 breaths.
Yes.
Right. CAB.
This is freedom, this is life. Happiness is all I'm seeking. Carpe diem, I'm seizing every day, not just the weekend. Here's to all the good times that have come to last. Here's to living in the now.
When you can afford what you crave, life just gets so
So
good.
alive and I'm feeling good, so good, so good, so good. Hey, I hope I'm gonna live my life feeling good, so good, real good, so
KFC, so good for everyone.
Government is in the process of tackling all the boards because we have issues that we've inherited. For instance, with the St. Martin Housing Development Foundation, we've inherited issues with Cadastre, we've inherited issues at several government companies and entities. There are vacancies that exist in different, in many of these organizations, and one needs to look at the articles of incorporation, how the process has to go with some. Some of them you have, like for instance with the Housing Foundation, you have that there are candidates that are proposed by the Homeowners Association. I understood just recently, and that I don't know off the top of my head, that on the board of GBE, there is at least one representative that is either put forward, nominated, suggested. I'm not sure how that goes by the unions. So if that is the case, then government needs to take that into account as well. If government is restructuring the board, planning to put a new board, or making any decisions as far as the board is concerned.
The first stage is to create the bidding package for the current turnkey bidders. So in other words, like the VAMED, they would be in the second phase. So the first phase is actually creating the definition of what St. Martin actually wants to build. So, you know, how many rooms, how many operating theaters, things like that. So it does actually indicate, you know, if you pay attention closely, that there was nothing before in terms of specifications. So these are really the engineering firms that will take in collaboration with the stakeholders on the island, what the needs of the new SMMC would be. So these are engineering firms. So that's the first phase, are engineering firms that will create the bidding documents for a turnkey developer to offer their price. So we've made sure to include local engineering companies. But because building a hospital is more technical, many of the local firms don't have, a lot of experience building hospitals. So many of them are partnering with a international partner that will help them with execution of the project. That's up to them how they decide to execute the work, and that's one of the criteria how we'll evaluate the bids when they come in, is, you know, how are they actually going to execute it, who are their partners, et cetera.
In the business plan that you have presented or you showed to Minister Plasterk, is there anything in there that would increase the tariff structure at the St. Martin Medical Center so that the country can sustain its hospital?
As I've indicated previously, one of the big problems for SMMC is that the current tariff structure doesn't even cover their costs. Mm-hmm. So looking at the tariff structure is a critical part of developing a sustainable business plan, absolutely.
Been established between Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin with respect to the proposal coming out of the IPCO again, as far as the dispute regulation is concerned. And you know that a draft initiative law was a topic for discussion. And as I mentioned, contact has been made to now follow up on those discussions as Caribbean countries, and to make sure that we have something tangible when we go to the next IPCO, which is scheduled for early June of this year. So we haven't decided when we will meet, but the contact that the three countries must come together, that has been established, and now we're looking at possible time for a meeting to continue on the proposal for a dispute regulation. Of course, we took note of Minister Plasterk's position on it, but that does not take away that we still hold on to the agreement of the 4 parliaments of the Dutch Kingdom, and the 3 Caribbean countries will continue to work out their proposal. Which brings me to the topic, because I think that further clarification on that is necessary as well, and that is the matter of the Antillean laws that were taken over by the Parliament of St. Martin. And I say this because I look back at the discussions surrounding the draft media law. And that particular draft law is but one of a set of draft laws that when 10-10-10 came around the corner, these draft laws were at the Parliament of the Netherlands Antilles. The countries of Aruba and Curacao, the countries of St. Martin and Curacao, had a possibility to decide that they and we would want to continue with the handling of these laws. And so our Parliament, back in 2011, decided on a set of laws that we will continue the handling of. Since 2011 up to 2015, the Parliament of St. Martin has been asking the government, in addition to deciding that we will continue with the law, asking the government which of the laws are still relevant. We have passed some of these laws already. Some regarding the civil code, for example. We had several of them have been passed already. So we decided to take them over, we handled them, they were passed. But there are a few that we have asked the government, let us know if these laws are still relevant, because things have changed. Government itself has had other laws that might have replaced those drafts that were there. And in the absence of receiving a clear indication from government, the media law was one of them that we said, well, in this case, we will put it on the agenda and ask the government to come to Parliament and give an explanation, not only an explanation, especially give an indication to how government feels about the continuation of the law. So that's basically what you saw with this very old draft law, this one called the so-called media law. And we are looking forward to hear what government is going to say now the government has heard the Parliament and also has received several questions. But it is, I can imagine that there's some of these laws that government would say they're basically outdated. You know, don't keep them on the docket of Parliament. Just take them off, because right now all of them are on the docket of Parliament, and at some point in time we'll have to either schedule them, or the government would have to advise Parliament that they are no longer relevant, they might be outdated, or have been replaced by something else. So that's where this whole issue, sort of out of the blue, some would say, why this particular one, and there are more, appeared on an agenda of Parliament.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
To that, like I have done in the past, as far as the 2013 annual accounts of all government-owned companies are concerned, again, I will be asking the chairperson of the Finance Committee of Parliament to call a meeting of Parliament where we can now look at, scrutinize, analyze, and debate the 2014 annual accounts of all government-owned companies, because that is basically where Parliament comes into the picture. Parliament is not supposed to be out there trying to sit on the chair of either the government as shareholder or the board of supervisory directors. But once these companies operate and present their annual reports, Parliament is entitled to look at these reports and debate them in Parliament, where the people of St. Martin can follow what is happening and what has been presented by all of the government-owned companies. So I'll be doing the same thing for 2014, and hopefully that meeting can get off the ground as soon as possible.
You hear success from the heart, and if it's from the heart, it is filled with passion. And throughout my life, I have struggled with, when it's something so passionate to me, not to cry. I've actually prayed about it so many times. I said, Lord, take this away from me. But he hasn't. But what I'll say to you today is this. And I also salute the board members of Victorious Living. And a very, very special thank you to my husband, Roy Cotton Jr. Please give him a round of applause. As he stated, when I started with Victorious Living, he was not there. And to be honest with you, there are many people who thought I would never get married. I even thought so myself. But God had a plan, and he had the man. So I'm very grateful and very thankful for his support over the past couple years that we've been married. Why Victorious Living? Why success from the heart? You know, it's success from the heart, and you would think I would have in the background book, Success from the Heart. But actually the book is a vehicle for the vision that God has placed in my heart back in 2002. And I have to put this disclaimer again. During this brief discussion, I might cry. And I've come to accept that. I've come to accept the fact that God loves our children. He loves our young people. And He loves each of you, each of us, as His children. And I cry because God cries. He cries because so many of us are lost. He cries because so many of us do not know how much He truly loves us. He cries because so many of us have strayed from the path. And as our Prime Minister being here and our Minister of Justice being here, I believe that you responded because God wanted you to respond. You responded because He has a mission and a vision for you to carry out and fulfill in this nation. Our young people are hurting. Our families, they are hurting. And this year and the coming years, government cannot be government as usual. You may not be in office, someone else may be, or you may be. I see Pastor Smith is here as well. He's running for elections. But it is time for change. We cannot continue on the same path that we have been doing.